a fortune. Gotta walk through a fire for what's important. The warrior's blood through your veins is coursing. Kill for hire, soldier of fortune. The whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't act a fool. All you got and all you ever need is one bullet in the chamber. Really needs to take your game, but ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Do or die, you're a mercenary. One of a kind that you're burdened to carry. Go and make them proud, do what's necessary. Oh no, do or die, you're a mercenary. Now the whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't act the fool. All you got chamber, really needs to take your game, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? One bullet in the chamber, really needs to take your game, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Now the whole world's watching every move. Still your heart so much to prove.
Well, it's Thursday, and that means it's time for some Mystic Racing League action. Welcome inside the Slingshot Racing Media booth. I'm Logan Threlkeld alongside Chris Smith for our color commentary and production. Tonight, we're bringing you race number 16 of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series and coming at you live from one of the most iconic and historic ovals in the world. Charlotte Motor Speedway for the National American Racing Series 200. Chris, this is such a beautiful track, all in all. So much history here. Like we just said, so iconic. However, it was almost the track that never was. Would you care to go into some details about the history here at Charlotte Motor Speedway?
Yeah, this track almost did not come to existence, as you said, Logan. There's a lot of political ramifications for this track being built. It was once adorned with rugged rocks and boulders. It was owned by North Carolina's original inaugural governor, Nathaniel Alexander. But this track did come to be. And as a result, we have one of the best mile-and-a-half racetracks in all of the world, Logan. Tonight, these Mystic Racing League drivers are going to have to navigate all of these tight corners around this track tonight for 134 laps, 67% of their fuel in their fuel tanks, 6 sets of tires on these vehicles, and some stage racing to try to navigate around this very, very difficult racetrack. It should be a great night of action.
It absolutely will. Those stages will be set at lap 40 and lap 80. So we got 2 40-lap runs, and right after that, all the way till the end of our 200-mile race on the night. Things that these drivers are going to have to keep in mind here are the tires. These mile-and-a-half tracks are famous for shredding up the tires. That's why we've got 6 sets available here tonight. They'll start out with the first set already on the car, 5 more available over the wall. Now, it's a multi-groove surface here as well, Chris. Tell the folks a little bit about that type of racing.
Yeah, Logan, so with these multiple grooves that these drivers are going to have to try to get around right here, this is a very, very difficult track to pass on. You have some options running up high, and so a lot of drivers are probably going to take that defensive lane of riding up high and trying to hold off all of their competitors that are underneath them. The drivers on the inside lines, they're going to have a very difficult time, even if they are faster, of completing passes in these very tight corners. This isn't a typical cookie-cutter mile-and-a-half racetrack, Logan.
not at all. And these drivers are really going to have to minimize the mistakes in the pits. So extra time coming down pit lane, extra time in the box. Those milliseconds add up at the end of this race. You see it won or lost in so many cases whenever a driver makes a mistake. Why that's so important? Because turn 4 is so fast. Anywhere that you're in one of those grooves, top, bottom, middle, this pit road entry, it's a challenge for all drivers of all different levels. Now, Chris, we've got a little bit of info here coming into tonight with the point standings. Let's hear what we've got on that.
Yeah, well, Evan Janik is still your points leader coming into the action tonight. Evan Janik's been probably, usually consistently the fastest guy week in and week out here in the Mystic Racing League in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. He's got some tough competition, though, that has begun to emerge in the form of Jacob Cochran. Don't think that Jacob is here tonight, so that's going to be one less bullet for him to dodge, but we're going to have our eyes on second-place pointsman Adam Holston. He's got a win. He's got himself locked into the playoffs, Logan. It's been kind of falling back a little bit here in the last couple weeks into the standings. It seemed like that car had a lot more speed in it tonight in practice, so I'm going to be keeping my eyes on that number 8 machine and seeing if Holston can get back on the horse and maybe return to that form that we saw him at earlier this season.
So with that being said, are there any other drivers to kind of keep in mind here going through the night where we've seen success at these mile-and-a-half tracks through the earlier part of the season?
Yeah, I've got my eyes on Derek Jewett, number 6 in points right there, number 45 on the track. Derek Jewett is a very tough competitor, and we've been saying week in and week out about how he might pick any week could be the week to pick up his first win. So I'm my eyes on him tonight. Christian Barnes, 3rd in points as well. Barnes has been fast week in and week out also. So going to have our eyes on both those guys to see what they can accomplish tonight.
Well, we've got some drivers out making some qualifying laps right now. Let's take a look at somebody here and see what it's like to take a hot lap here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, 1-on-1.
Here's Evan Janik, and it looks like Janik has already completed his qualifying run, so we'll see if we can find somebody else right here. Here's Gino Volante in that 35 machine. I think he has already completed his qualifying run as well. Let's go to Cody Giles. Let's ride on board with Giles right here. Going down into turn number 3. He's going to hunt the bottom of the racetrack right there, and he's going to find the bottom of the racetrack right there. It helps if y'all can hear his engine sound right here as he crosses the start-finish line. That's going to put that lap right there will put Giles into the pole position.
Great lap by the 5, taking it away from the 71 of Janik. And it looks like everybody else is going to be wrapped up. So, Chris, let's say we send it to the national anthem, then we should be back right here with our qualifying results and get set for that green flag drop. Well, qualifying has completed here. We are all set. We'll have that up on screen momentarily once the session finally switches over. But we saw it live with the number 5 taken away. Tonight's pole is going to be Cody Giles. A little bit further back in the pack right now. We'll get it moved back one more time here. A little bit of an issue with our starting card, but we'll go ahead and run through it. So Cody Giles in the 5 is going to start in that number 1 position. First row on the inside. Evan Janik in the 71 will be to the outside. Adam Holston in the 8 will make up row 2 inside line next to Harold Tucker in the 79 for the number 4 spot. The 3 of Michael Wade will take home, or will start in 5th on the night next to Gavin Hinson in the 39. Row behind them will be Zach White in the 77, starting out in 7th next to the 10 of Joshua Gillen. Last but not least, in our top 10, it'll be the 47 of David Moyer in 9th next to the 16 of Aaron Esp.
Starting in the 11th spot, we got Christian Barnes in that number 27. He's going to look to try to make up some ground in the points tonight. The 01 of Stephen Gill is going to be starting in the 12th spot. Joshua King in the 13th spot. Brett Wren will be rolling off 14th. You're going to see Brett Wren's pulse all night tonight. He's wearing our heart rate monitor. He's driving the number 24 machine. Andy Berry going to be starting in the 15th position in that 25. Brad T. Nelson in that number 33 on the outside of row 8. He will be starting in the 16th spot. Alex Pollock will be rolling off in 17th. Caleb Hunt in the 18th position in the number 78. Gino Volante on his birthday will be starting in the 19th spot. And Alan Zukoff is going to round out our top 20.
To bring up the rest of our field here, only 24 cars on the night. In 21st, we'll have the 88 of Robert McKay next to the 9 of Reggie Kime. The 11 of Douglas Wysocki will take up the 23rd starting position. And last but not least, our league host, the number 12 of Brandon Willard. We are rolling off of pit road now. We are going to have 2 pace laps here around Charlotte Motor Speedway. And as you can see, that sun is falling, Chris. It's going to be a late race here tonight. We might even have an opportunity at the end of this, probably about lap 70, I would assume. We'll start seeing some nightfall here on the track. That'll change the game for these drivers and certainly the track.
Yeah, it definitely will, Logan. And it's going to look a little bit strange for some of these drivers tonight with the sun setting. It's going to give them a little bit of a different view of the track, and I think that can definitely throw these drivers a curveball. They've been looking at it in that bright sunshine and practice. Oh, we have some drivers actually get together on the pace laps right here. Hopefully everybody keeps it straight. I think we got a number of drivers, Logan, falling to the back of the field, and that maybe is causing a little bit of this chaos right here.
Indeed we are. I'm seeing multiple EOL penalties being handed out here, starting with the 01 of Stephen Gill, the 79 of Harold Tucker, the 88 of Robert McKay, our pole setter, the 5 of Cody Giles, the 10 of Joshua Gillen, the 12 of Brandon Willard, the 3 of Michael Wade, and last but not least, the 27 of Christian Barnes, all receiving EOLs here to start this race.
Yeah, they got a long ways, Logan, 134 laps, and there's a lot of really fast cars that are coming from the back of the field, so they've got time to come up there through this pack, and you can definitely throw your race away here in the early stages, but I do believe these drivers do have a fast repair here in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series, so that's a little bit of a safety net in your back pocket.
Indeed it is. This isn't a bad place to start for these drivers, as well as carnage can come quickly here. And we saw it in the practice session. Turns 1 and 2 is a menace right now. And as we say that, coming through 1 and 2, we are actually quite a bit cooler on the track from what we saw in the practice session. So immediately these drivers will notice a difference between the practice and the race. We are about 40 degrees cooler than what we were just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different than it was, and that's going to throw these drivers a curveball right here. They're going to have a lot more grip as they enter these corners than what they had before. So With that extra grip, Logan, comes a little bit sometimes of extra confidence. And with a little bit of extra confidence, sometimes comes a little bit of aggression on the racetrack.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. That's when you get some of the best racing you will see on the service. Coming out of turn number 4, the pace car comes off, and we are set for race number 16. Green flag in the air, ready to drop, and here we go. Long line there starting on the bottom here. All of those cars serving EOL penalties to start this one out. But up at the front, it's a battle between Evan Janik. Contact made. Janik up the track. He's going to come back down. He's collecting in the 77.
That's Zach White in the 77. Evan Janik. I think maybe there might have been some contact between he and the driver on the inside. I think that was Adam Holson on the opening lap. We're going to go back and see what transpired with our points leaders. Actually, we missed it just a little bit right here, so we'll kind of go back just a little bit. And yeah, it looks like that 8 car a little bit up the track right there, Logan.
It almost looked like both of them coming together. I think Janik might have came down just a touch. Holston came up, and there's just no more room left. That's heavy damage on the 71. You see the rear end nearly destroyed. He's going to nose it into the wall again. And we've got the 77 of White missing the hood now. So a couple drivers here who are already under some strange circumstances to start the race. One more look at this, and I don't know. I can't quite tell. It really does look like both of them just came together.
Yeah, it's very, very close racing. And we talked about it before with the different track conditions than what you saw in practice. These drivers went down into turns 1 and 2. Maybe not really knowing what they had or maybe possibly anticipating their cars to drive much different than what they did. And looks like these two just kind of came together coming off of turn 2 right here. And unfortunately for Janik and White, they're going to get the worst of it. But like I said, I do believe they have a fast repair, and they can use that fast repair to return to the race.
Tell you what, that 8 of Holston that kind of got mixed up in the start of this. He got extremely lucky when Janik came back down the track that he didn't get into the right rear, send him up to the wall. That would absolutely collect about 10 more race cars if the 8 hits the outside wall.
We're riding on board right here with Adam Holston. And yeah, just that slight bit of contact right there to the left rear of his, I believe that's his teammate, Evan Janik right there. So, definitely could have been a lot worse than what it was for this entire field, all that going on right up there in the first 2 positions.
Well, we knew that turns 1 and 2 were already dangerous just from what we saw in the practice session, and it's already proving itself here. We got about a quarter of a lap through. We got 1 caution on the board already. Don't forget those stage breaks that we'll have at lap 40 and lap 80. You'll see a lot of strategy come into play here with those stages. We're getting some info showing us around that 40 lap mark is when these drivers will be at the end of the fuel cell. Remember, that's only 67% on that fuel cell for this race tonight. So what do you think about the strategy call? Do you go for the overcut here if you can, or do you go for the undercut?
I'm not really sure, Logan. I feel like track position is going to be super important tonight. But you mentioned the tires really wear out here. So I'm kind of conflicted on this. I think that these drivers will, with the stage breaks being what they are, I think these drivers will try their very best to make it to the end of stage 1 before they do decide to take their tires here. But I'm not really sure how it's going to proceed, especially when we get to that 3rd stage and they have, a lot of options when it comes to a possible green flag pit stop coming up later in this deal.
As you said, the track position will be very important on top of the top 5 receiving stage points. So that's kind of things that you got to think about. You could take and go as long as you can in stage 1, collect as many points as possible if you can get up there in the top 5, and then flip the script for that 2nd stage. Go for the track position after everybody pits, but then you're really going to be pushing it on the fuel capacity to stretch it to the end of the race. So There's so many different ways you could play this as a driver or a crew chief. If any of these drivers are lucky enough to have one, I can tell you it is a huge difference and such a confidence boost when you're the one in the seat. But back coming through turn 4, pace car is coming off. We will have the 8 of Adam Holston lead us to the green flag. Into the zone we go, and on the loud pedal he is. Let's start lap number 5.
Holston right there getting a real nice jump on his competitors behind him right there. To the second spot back behind him, that's the 16 of Aaron Esp. He's going to clear the 39 of Gavin Hinson and move up into that second spot, trying to give chase to Holston. Oh, we got one car around.
Oh, another one in the background up in the outside wall. We've got the 35 hitting the inside wall. We're going to stay green on track. That's Gino Valenti. And it looks like that's going to be a race ender for the 35. I didn't quite catch the number. I think is maybe the 11 of Douglas Wysocki, who got the outside wall in that mix-up. Back up here at the front, Holston running away with it now. He's a half second ahead of the 16 of Esp, and it's a hornet's nest right behind the 47. Got cars looking to make it too wide down here into turn 3. They're going to get clear. Well, we see the slide job come from the 5, get up to the top of the racetrack. Cody Giles already all the way up to the front of this one. Set the pull, got that EOL all the way back to the back into the field. Already in the top 5 he goes. The 47 now to the outside. Giles to the inside. He's going to get the position there. Top 3 for Giles now. He is on a speed run.
He is, and he's no stranger to victory lane here in the Mystic Racing League. Really moving up through the field right here and closing in right here on the 16 of Aaron S. Side by side right here for the second spot. He's going to clear him as they come across the start-finish line right here. That 5 car is on a mission early on in this thing, starting at the back of the field and moving his way up through the field, all the way up into the second spot already here on lap 8.
I don't care what track you're on. That takes a great bit of confidence and a great bit of skill. Giles into the second position. He's already closed up that half-second gap that Holston had over Esp.
Oh, we got
spinning across the front stretch. Here's the 39 down to the grass. He's got the 47 spinning around.
We're still green here.
David Moyer, and still green, yes.
Yeah, we'll go back right here and see if we can see what transpired between these two right here. It was between the 47 of Moyer and the 39 of Hinson. Yeah, and it looks like right here off of turn number 4, Hinson's going to slide up into the left rear of Moyer and put Moyer down into that infield turf.
Luckily, no drivers making contact with the wall, so really the only damage here is going to be on the left rear of the 47 and the right front of the 39. However, it does not appear to be bad at all. Back up towards the front, it's Giles all over the back bumper now of Adam Holston. Holston goes for the block low. He's going to force Giles high. Holston keeping it down on that blue line here, but Giles, he's going to have a great deal of momentum off this corner. Will we see the switchback? And no, Holston was able to get a great drive off the bottom there. He gets a separation here. 0.2 of a second now, but Giles appears to be better in turns 1 and 2. This is going to be a battle here of just who can get the best opportunity once you get to your better section of the track.
And with Cody Giles having the, charge up through the field like he's had, you have to question, how much strain has he put on the tires here in these opening stages of the race? Has he been pushing it just a little bit too hard, or is he possibly feeling like, you know what, I can go about this stage right here and not worry about my pace right here? Is that he's all over the rear bumper of Adam Holston through turns 1 and 2.
He is pressing the X button to intimidate. He's going to go low here. This is where we saw Holston able to fend him off the last time by. Giles clear now, but Holston with a little bit of a run after making contact with the wall. Giles is going to block that low lane here down the front stretch into turn 1 and 2. Holston's going to relinquish that position now. Pierce, he's not going to give it up easily. A good run through 1 and 2 now. He takes a look to the inside down the back stretch. He's at the bumper. Will he get to the door before turn 3? And he does. Great run there from the 8 to get back to the inside.
Yeah, he's not going to let the 5 get away. He's going to try to fight for all he has right here in the early stages of this race. Adam Olsen probably showing right here. He's like, I got a little something to prove after these last few weeks. He's been a little bit down in speed from what we saw earlier in the year. We know what he's capable of with picking up a victory earlier this season. So looking to return to form tonight here at Charlotte.
So as you can see there in the top left-hand corner of the screen, lap 14 of 134, and we are already seeing well over a half second of fall off on the tires. Best laps, some of them set. Actually appears fastest lap, only one driver in the 29s. That is Cody Giles, our race leader. And Adam Holston with a 30.055 best lap time, and we are already seeing lap times in the 31-second bracket. So it's already really beating down these tires. We're barely any laps into this race as we had the first lap caution, so that's already 2 or 3 laps under caution. Really only about 11 laps of green flag racing.
Yeah, it's pretty significant tire wear on these Xfinity cars here tonight, and not surprised at all to see that. This is one of the harder tracks on tires on the NASCAR schedule in real life as well as here in the sim. So I think that we might see comers and goers all night tonight, Logan. I think we'll probably see some drivers maybe elect to really take it easy here in the opening stages. I'm gonna be curious to see if maybe some of these drivers who charged up through the field, see if they're able to, you know, maintain their positioning as this run goes on.
One of the great things about tonight as well, Chris, this will be one of the last opportunities to view a race on this track is next week. iRacing will be implementing the rescanned version of Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll see some differences here tonight, some that we were already talking about pre-race that definitely need updated. It'll be very cool to see what they do as they're going to release a whole lot of tracks next week. Some contact here with the wall out of turn 4. That's that 24 machine of Brett Wren. He keeps it straight here and fires it down into turn 1. There it is, that Fall Creek Plumbing Series all over the 24. Currently running in that 7th position right now. He's got the 25 of Andy Berry right behind, however, and Harold Tucker really going after Andy right now.
Yeah, we see Brett up on the high lane right here, and he had to squeeze out of the throttle right there, and I think Andy Berry had, his rim's going to hit the wall again, but contact!
Oh. Big contact across the front stretch. The 24 and the 79 both go for a ride. They'll get right to the exit of pit road. Green flag stays out. Here it is. There's the yellow.
Yeah, that started with some contact to the outside retaining wall from Brett Wren in that 24. We just got done talking about that Fall Creek Plumbing car that he was carrying right there. Look at his heart rate right there. It's up to 107 beats per minute. If you know anything about Brett, that's pretty high for him. He's normally calm, cool, and collected. So we'll go back right here, see if we can see what happened right here. Coming off of turn number 4 right here. It looks like he's trying to take a high lane right here, Logan, through the dog leg here on the front stretch. And I think that kind of gets him in trouble right here because you kind of got to be turning left in that first hitch of the dog leg.
Yeah, and right there you can see Barry almost followed him right into the wall, but doing a great job of leaving plenty of room for your competitors. That was very good race etiquette. However, that dog leg, once you get up high on the track, even though we're only 20 laps into it, we do have particle carryover from the practice and the qualifying session. So that lane that Wren was trying to use is just full of marbles. So you really have to try to get ahead of that and get that car turned before you ever even get to the dog leg if you're going to utilize that outside line.
Yeah, absolutely right here. We'll watch it at full speed right there. That's the 79 right there. Harold Tucker, the 3rd. Harold's just minding his business right here on the inside lane right here, and he just gets hit right there in the right side door. But a couple of hard hits into that outside wall. And both these drivers right here, both of them had to tow, I believe, to get back to the pits. So they'll be looking to return to the race. And actually, it looks like Tucker is going to be able to get back rolling again. So maybe he can use that fast repair along with Brett Wren to return to the action.
79 pretty beat up, but Wren being the worst of the two coming out of that one. I noticed that the Mystery Machine got by there without a scratch. Reggie Kime will take over the lead here, coming to this next green flag. But man, that was close. You have to assume I would give myself a Scooby snack after avoiding that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, he elected not to pit right there and maintain the track position. And I think that we're going to see on this restart, it looks like, Logan, that Reggie has not come to pit road at all during this race right here. So I think we're going to see the difference. This is going to be a good barometer right here for the differences between fresh tires and old tires.
Yeah, this is going to be the telltale sign just how bad the tire fall off is. I really don't think this is going to play out in favor for Reggie unless, we're just full of cautions up until that stage break and he can hold on to that number one spot or at least a top 5. That's going to be extremely difficult to do on it'll be 23 lap old tires roughly versus brand new tires for everybody behind him back to that 15th position where Michael Wade will be David Moyer now as they're switching spots, getting stacked up side by side. But that's a lot of cars right behind you that are on fresh tires. That's going to be a freight train in the matter of just 2 corners, really.
Yeah, and I think that for this restart right here, if I am Reggie Kime, the name of the game is going to be survival here when we get to turn 1, because those guys are going to be coming really, really hard on fresh tires. We got a little bit of a jumble up going on in the field right here as some drivers look to fall to the back here, maybe with some pit road penalties. But the lights are out on the pace car, Logan. We are coming to that green flag. And we're going to see what happens right here when we get to turn 1 with that driver on older tires here at the front of the field in that Mystery Machine.
Well, Kime has an advantage here controlling this restart. He can focus on minimizing his tire spin rather than keeping up with the car to his outside. Rather inside here as Kime elects to take the top lane. Pace car is off. Just a couple moments away from that Geico restart zone once more for restart number 2. And the green flag drops. Kime is away, and he does get a little bit squirrely. He's close to the wall. He gathers it back up, but he's going to lose that position to 2 drivers already. Here comes the 92 to the inside. We've got the 5 of Giles just stuck. He gets down to the bottom now, looking to follow Alex Pollock. And you can see Kime already sinking like a rock here as multiple drivers making contact behind, trying to avoid. They keep it straight. However, that 47 is going to have difficulty getting back up on the track. We've got smoke just up ahead. I think it's Kime making contact with the wall. And he is already falling out of the top 10.
And it didn't take long at all, Logan.
So those tires, obviously not the right call here. 6 sets available through the race. And everybody else took them except for him. He'll be regretting that decision once it comes time to that stage, but at the end of this race, it might play in his favor if he has one more set available here. We'll just have to wait until we see up in those lap 100 areas. But it's Giles running away with it now. He had the pace to catch up from the very back of the pack all the way to the front. He's shown what he can do now that he has a whole lot of clean air in the number 5. Up here high on the track, we've got a battle back here for the 4th position. It's that 17 getting the advantage. Joshua Keane now. He's got that position. Brad Nelson gets to the inside of the 8 of Holston. He'll insert into the top 5. Holston makes contact with the wall. I believe that was him. It might not have been. I'm losing track here, Chris.
Yes.
Making contact with the wall out of 4.
A lot of cars right here. Joshua King moving up through the field very nicely, though, on this restart. Following in the tire tracks right here of Evan Janik. We saw Janik with the troubles early on in the race. Janik hit that inside wall, and I didn't think that he took his fast repair because I saw as Brad T. Nelson hits the wall really hard off of turn 4 right there. I thought that Janik didn't take his fast repair. He might have saved it for that pit stop right there because he is really charged up through the field right here. Got some fresh tires on that machine. Got a fresh car underneath him as well, and he's showing what kind of speed he has right here. Made his way up here into the third spot, right behind Alex Pollock in second in that 92.
7/10 until he catches up to that 5 to challenge for the lead. We'll see if he can find the pace as we get through it. No contact with the wall being made back towards the back half of the top 10. Right now, here's a 33. Brad T. Nelson, Aaron Esmond trying to catch up. If you don't look too far behind him, you'll see that 39 of Gavin Henson working his way back through the top 10.
Yeah, and Henson right here.
Well single filed out.
Yeah, he is. His league right here, his console league, is the sponsor of the race right here, and so he's looking for a good run tonight in that Ford Mustang of his, and so he's making a good show of it. You know, Gavin's been pretty consistent all season, so not surprised at all to see him up here in the top 10. Right here, working on lap 29 right here, trying to get past the number 16 of Aaron S to move up into that 6th spot.
You said right there, the 39 with that NARS paint scheme, National American Racing Series on the console. As Nelson continues to make contact with the wall out of turn 4. He's got to figure that corner out. He's putting a whole lot of damage on the right front that will affect the aero. This is going to 2.5 mile tracks. The aero is ever so important. More contact out of 2. Henson's going to get by on the low side. S gets by. Nelson loses 2 in the matter of 1 backstretch.
And Nelson going to look to recover right here as the field works its way through turns 3 and 4. Seeing a lot of contact right here off of turn 4. Not sure how much of that is being shown, like if it's just showing up on our end or if it's something that's going on also from what the drivers see. But Logan, this track is really difficult on corner exit. Your car is just sliding out towards that wall. It's not as big, wide, sweeping a set of corners here at Charlotte Motor Speedway as it is at some other intermediate 1.5 mile racetracks.
And the temperature still right here in the upper 70s on the track surface. So it's just a matter of mitigating, how much slide you have on corner exit. These drivers will have to back it down just a little bit as these runs go on. But here we are. It's already lap 32. We've got the stage coming up in about 7 laps here.
Looks like we got Gavin Henson looking to the inside right here. Aaron S wants to move up here into the 5th spot. Got that 16 battling back on the outside, though, trying to keep his momentum up. But I think that Henson's going to have enough of a run to put that NARS machine up into the top 5.
Ooh, he just barely gets clear, and he's sent it up to that top line to get the best entry possible. As we've got, I believe that's a 91 coming out of pit road. Alan Zukoff. I hope I'm saying that right, Alan. I apologize if I'm not.
I think that you got it pretty close.
Back onto the track.
Yeah, that's Alan Zukoff right there in that 91. Sort of a mainstay right here in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series, and doing a really nice job tonight in that machine. Cody Giles, meanwhile, up at the front. Yeah.
There we go. Cody Giles still running away with it. Now almost a 1 second lead, sitting right around that 8 to 9/10 area. But if you look ahead, he's got some lap traffic coming up. We'll see how the 5 machine can navigate after he's been in the lead for so long with the clean air. How is this going to affect him? He already drove through the entire field to start this race, but it's been a little while since he's had some dirty air on the nose. We'll see if he catches up to him before that stage break happens. Alex Pollock, he's looking like he's going to fall off a little bit more. He loses some ground to Janik. Janik catching up now. Closes that gap to 0.2 of a second for that battle in second. This is the closest one we've got on the field for the moment outside of the battle back for the 9th position between Nelson and looks like Willard.
Yeah, riding on board right here with Evan Janik. He says right there his best track style is an intermediate track. Gives the example of Charlotte, and I would say that he's showing that tonight right here with that charge up through the field after the early troubles that he had on lap 1 right here. That's where you want to be right there, I think, Logan. Right there on the bottom, hunting that blue and white line in the middle of these corners. He's making a nice charge right up here to the back bumper of Alex Pollock.
And try to get around Pollock now. One more point here for the stage points. He's caught back up to the bumper to do it. We'll see how he tries to attack this here. Down the back stretch, stays right on the bumper here. As much draft as possible. Pollock goes to the low side. Janik's going to follow. Let's say he's setting him up for right whenever we're going to come to that line. Here's a big run out of 4. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I would expect that we see that run repeated here in about 2 laps if he doesn't get clear.
Yeah, and Logan, it seems like, the drivers they're a little bit apprehensive about making those passes on the bottom. It seems like making the pass on the top is a little bit easier, even if you are running the bottom. You really see the difference right there of Evan Janik kind of backing up the corner a little bit more than Alex Pollock. Really trying to keep those tires underneath him right here before the stage break coming up.
We are ever so close to it now as the pit road is closed. We'll see 2 more laps completed here as Giles has run away with it. A 2-second lead now as we see Janik and Pollock battling it out for the 2nd place position. And here's a battle for 3rd. It's that 17 machine at Keene. And the 39 at Henson up on the high side. Esk looks to the middle. Does he have enough to make a run? He doesn't quite get there. He's going to fall in line on the bottom. 27 of Barnes going to make a move here around the outside. He looks. Doesn't quite get there. Now he's almost to the door. Stack up on the bottom. The 39 gets a boot, but they collect it back up. That's going to take the 16 out of the equation here as they'll be taking the stage break this time by. Here's a battle between the 17 and the 27. Both in the hunt for a stage point. A bonus point would be nice for either one. Round out of turn number 4 is going to be a drag race to the finish line here. And the 17 is going to get that extra point. We'll see the stage break come out here right about now. There it is. Caution lights are on.
Yeah, what a great stage right there for Cody Giles right there, dominating the action right here, and a great battle right there for the final stage points. 4th and 5th right there between Christian Barnes and Joshua King, going to round out our top 5 and our stage points.
Now I'm curious here, Chris. I don't quite know what the ruling is. Might have to get in contact with race control, but as they cross the line, the 17 of King was ahead. But as the caution lights came on when the 10th car crossed the line, Barnes had gotten back around into that 4th position. So I don't know if it's at the time of the caution being thrown for the stage or if it's at the time of crossing the start-finish line.
That's a good question. I'm not sure either. It might be a situation where they award the points for who crossed the line, but you're locked in the position maybe for when the caution flies. Not 100% sure on that right now, but at this point, they've got Barnes ahead of King right there in the 4th spot, King in the 5th spot, respectively.
We're going to see every single one of these drivers bring it down here for the stage break. Some of these drivers will be taking their 2nd set of tires. We've got, I believe, just one driver left that will be taking his 1st set of tires. That'll be the 9 of Reggie Kime. Yes, he is still out there. 42 laps completed in this 1st stage for the number 9. He started that last restart in the number 1 position on the outside line. Fell all the way back to the 14th position. He was still able to hold some ground against some other cars that were on the lead lap, but shortly behind him in the 18th position, we have some lap cars starting there with the number 11 of Douglas Wysocki.
Looks like we're going to have a little bit.
Look at this.
Yeah, Michael Wade looks like a little bit of pit strategy right there, possibly taking 2 tires there, Logan.
Either 2 tires or fuel only. We've got 8.3 seconds in the box. I want to say that is a full fuel cell, no tires. I believe if you throw right sides on it, you'd be in that 10-second range. 4 tires puts you in the 14-second range, which is exactly what we saw. Giles, Janik, Pollock, well, yeah, everybody else behind the 3 of Michael Wade.
Michael Wade started in the 5th spot. He's been as low as 19th tonight. We haven't talked a lot about him. He's kept that nose clean on that number 3 Dale Earnhardt Jr. AC Delco throwback right there, and with a little bit of pit strategy finds himself in the lead. But Be curious right here on this restart right here, Logan, how he's able to maintain that pace, in comparison to his competitors.
Is it going to be another case of what we saw with the 9 of Kime, or is he going to be able to flip the script here? As Wade is going to elect to take the top line on the restart, just as we saw the 9 do. I don't know. It has a potential to play out differently, but it's really going to take an effort here to make sure that happens.
Yeah.
Saw a couple cars that were able to get a lap removed here. That is the 79 of Harold Tucker, the 24 of Brett Wren, and there was one more. I didn't quite catch the number. I think it was the 77 of Zach White. So they're going to get that wave around here for this, as we saw them take off, coming to that start-finish line. So a lot of things could come into play on this restart.
Yeah, they're
I
definitely
don't really want to speak any into existence, though.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that the last restart that we had, where we had a driver up there near the front on older tires, I think that played out about as well as we could possibly have hoped for, with Reggie Kime doing a nice job of holding a pretty wheel right there. We'll see right here if Michael Wade can do the same thing, because I think that those drivers are going to be some hungry hounds behind him right here, looking to charge up there, past him on these fresh Goodyear Eagles.
Out of turn 4, the pace car comes down. We've got a lot of space through the field here as the green flag's going to wave, and the 3 takes off on that top line. Does a great job not spinning up the tires, but not enough grip to keep Giles at bay as it's nearly 3 wide with Wade on the outside. They think better of it. The 92 backs out just enough. Pollock makes a smart move there, and oh my goodness, all over the back bumper of Michael Wade now. I believe that is the 39 right behind. He's going to give him some space as he's battling. Contact made with the 17. The 39 gets the wall. Gavin Henson's going to lose a couple positions, but he doesn't lose the car. That's the most important thing there. Is Andy Berry hits the wall one more time out of turn number 4. And it's a battle again, side by side. The 17 to the inside. Joshua King looking to take advantage of Michael Wade's decision on low tires. He's going to get that position, and back to the 4th spot goes Joshua King.
King does, move up there into that 4th spot. Great performance out of King tonight. Haven't seen a ton of him this season here in the Fall Creek Homing National Series. He's making the most of this infrequent start right here in that 17, and doing a really nice job. And give kudos as well to Michael Wade, who's maintaining fairly well right here in that number 3 machine.
A whole lot better than I was expecting. Maybe he did end up taking those 2 right side tires. I just have my times mismatched in my head on those pit cycles. But ultimately still going to lose a little bit of ground. It's a bold call, especially if the second stage goes green. As Henson now gets to the inside, he's going to get clear of the 3. Barry's going to try to follow across the dog leg here. David Moyer in the picture as well, lurking behind in the 47, running now the inside lane, trying to get up higher in the top 10. Moyer is going to get around Wade with ease and up into the 8th position.
Yeah, put Moyer right here.
Ahead, though.
Yeah, another one of those drivers who's recovered tonight after some early trouble. Saw him sliding through that AstroTurf in the infield right here at Charlotte Motor Speedway earlier after some contact with Gavin Henson, but he's recovered nicely. He's made his way up into that 8th spot.
So that 11 you see on screen right now behind David Moyer, that is Douglas Wysocki. Unfortunately, 4 laps down for him at the moment, but a lot of race to go to see if he can collect some of those laps back up. You've seen crazier things happen at tracks like this. As he's going to go down to the apron. He's going to get squirrely, trying to get out of the way. The lead lap cars brings it down pit road. Whew, safe and sound. That was a close one. Now it's the 27 trying to get around the outside. Christian Barnes looking to get ahead of the 78. 78, Caleb Hunt running 19th right now. Another lap down car. He's going to get just ahead of Michael Wade there. As you see the 27 now working the bottom line to get around the 3. And Wade now falling back to about where we saw Reggie Kime fall back to. Kime finally did take fresh tires on that stage break. has not been able to move back up through the field, still running in that 14th position for now.
And right here we got Joshua Gillen. He's looking to also make a pass right here on the 3 of Michael Wade. Wade's trying to shut the door on him right there, and Joshua Gillen wisely backs off the throttle so we don't have any extra contact right there. Give a call right here to Brandon Willard, looking to try to make his way up into the top 10. Brandon's had a little bit of a tough season this year in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series, but it's like he got some speed tonight in that Toyota Supra.
Looking good out here. Started out in the 24th position. Not the best qualifying effort. Up 13 positions right now. Only one more driver that has more positions gained so far, and that's our third place sitter, Alex Pollock. Well, tell you what, Brandon has a much better chance of taking home a Hard Charger award tonight, as he is running in the 11th position. A lot of room to grow for that number 12, as he's going to take a look to the inside. But that 27 is going to close that door. Christian Barnes saw it in the mirror, said, "No, sir. That is my line. You cannot have it." We're both going to take it low down into turn 1 and 2.
And both these drivers really wrapping the bottom right here in turns 1 and 2, trying to get right on that white and blue line right there at the bottom of the racetrack right before you get to the apron. Looking to try to, they used to call that Harvicking, Logan. They used to call that, that's what they used to say right there. Kevin Harvick used to like to run that line where he tried to get those left side tires down in that paint, try to help turn that car right there through the center of the corner. Something that would really help you on a track like this one.
You know, oddly enough, I could see that helping, especially if the track is just a little bit of extra banking there, maybe. I don't know. You'd assume that it would be as flat as possible, but hey, Kevin Harvick, he made it to the show. I didn't. Now we have the Larson line.
That's right. That's right. And we've seen a few of those drivers up there in that Larson line tonight. I would be a little bit hesitant to be up there too long tonight with some of the contact of the outside wall that we've seen on the exit of these corners especially. But been pretty clean tonight, Logan.
Yeah, been great so far. Only 2 natural cautions here tonight. That third caution being our stage break. A couple instances that might have warranted a caution. However, iRacing did not deem that necessary. Here we have the 17 of King under fire now from the outside. Is going to be Caleb Hunt. Again, the 78 a couple laps down. So not battling for position, but battling to get back to the lead lap as soon as possible. This might hold up Joshua King here. He's got a couple more drivers that are battling for position behind him. Just up ahead is the 16, looking to the inside now for this one. Aaron S. trying to get around Andy Berry. Berry able to hold it up there. Not quite to the Larson line, but close enough. Got a lot more momentum off of turn 4 and shoots across that infield stretch. Apologize, not infield stretch, but front stretch. And puts some distance between the 25 and the 16. Down the back stretch here is where it's going to shine for Aaron S. Because he's going to look to the inside. Gets to the bumper. Now the door. Let's see if Barry can do it again. He's going to keep it way up high. S is going to come up a little bit earlier. Barry into the wall. He's going to lose that position from that.
A great pass right there from that 16 of Aaron S. moving up here into the 5th spot. Seen a lot of speed out of that 16 when he does show up. Running a pretty limited schedule this season, so we haven't seen him here in a few weeks. But yeah, great speed tonight out of Aaron and that 16 machine. Back behind them, we still got Adam Holson and the lap car of Caleb Hunt. Caleb's really showing a lot of speed for being a couple laps down, trying to charge up there and get his laps back the hard way. But right now, it looks like Adam Holson's wanting to get out from around him and get into some cleaner air.
That will be important for Holston. He's going to do so. Hunt lets him by. He kept it high up on the track. Didn't want to interfere. He saw that the 8 had a lot more speed than he does currently. Might try to mimic the line that Holston's using as he sees that pace. Be smart to follow. Right now, he's got to worry about what's in the rearview mirror as the 17 has made a resurgence here. Joshua King looks to the outside. Hunt kind of closes the door, left it open just a touch. They're all going to fall back down to the bottom line here for 1 and 2. I think it's tire saving mode now. We're all single filed out. These drivers have to be looking towards stage break number 2.
Yeah,
back up towards the front. It's Giles running away with it again.
Yeah, he's been pretty dominant all night tonight, and I was curious about his pace. You know, if his pace would be, you know, a problem with how fast he was going, how hard he was pushing it. You know, we're still fairly early right here, but about halfway through this stage. I think if we go green through this stage, Logan, it'll be a really good test, a really good, you know, gauge about, you know, where the long run pace of that number 5 machine stands at. Right now, I feel like it looks pretty good as he tags the wall right there off of turn 4. It doesn't look like there's any significant damage to that machine, but yeah, he's definitely looking like he does have that long run pace. He's still kind of maintaining. We'll see if Janik can do anything with him right here, as that 5 paints the line right there in turns 1 and 2.
That's exactly what you want to do to try to save your tires as much as possible. The higher up you get on the track, sure, you're going to find speed, but you're also going to find a lot more tire wear once you start moving up into that middle and top groove. So it's, I mean, you've got all the clean air you could ask for if you're the 5 right now. You might as well stick it to the bottom as much as you can. It looks like the 39 now trying to catch back up. Henson closing the gap to Pollock in the 92, running in that 3rd position. Pollock, another driver who really likes his intermediate style tracks. 15 years of sim racing experience coming out of the 92 right now. Let's see if he can really pull it together here tonight. Close up that gap to Giles. Maybe just all that experience will really come into play whenever it comes to strategy tonight.
Yeah, Pollock, he's been another one right here that, when we think about first-time winners here in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series, he's one that, you know, comes to mind also. You know, he's a regular week in and week out. He's one of those drivers that, you know, wouldn't be a bit surprised at all to see him get in there and win a race before the end of this season. I think he's going to need a little bit more speed tonight, but definitely running really, really solid. And right now he's got that final step on the podium. But Gavin Henson, he wants to say something about that.
As he should. Tonight's sponsor of the race, running in 4th. Would be bittersweet to take home a podium position, get one of those post-race interviews here. See if he can put it together to get up to one of those top 3 positions, or bad luck could always come into play. Now, here's one thing I was thinking about when we came back to green flag racing after the stage break. We got to the green flag, I believe it was lap 43 was when we started it, where our info showing right around that 40 lap window for fuel. Now, once we come back to green flag racing after stage break number 2 at lap 80, we're going to have a longer stretch till the end of the race. So if we see a good green flag run like we've seen so far in stage 2, they repeat that in stage 3, we're going to have a green flag pit cycle, Chris.
Yeah, it's looking like it, Logan, and as a race fan and as somebody, you know, who's been out here on the track, you know, like these guys are here in recent days, that's what you love to see. You know, you want to have some green flag pit stop action. You know, that kind of opens the door for some possible strategy calls, you know, mixing some things up, drivers choosing to go a little bit further than others, and you know, seeing how it all shakes out at the end of this thing. So I've got my fingers crossed that we don't have any cautions in this final stage, and we can see some of those green flag pit stops.
That would be ideal. Little update on our field. We started with 24. We're now down to 22. The 11 of Douglas Wysocki has elected to bring it back behind the wall, back to the garage, as well as the 91 of Alan Zukoff. So finishing respectively 23rd and 24th. Early nights for 2 drivers. We've got, I believe, there's going to be 6 drivers that are laps down, starting with the 17th place of Harold Tucker in the 79, Caleb Hunt. We've got Robert McKay, Gino Volanti, and Brett Wren, Zach White, all of our drivers laps down. But our top 16 still battling it out here as stage 2 will be coming up shortly.
You got a lot of action right here around the 9th spot, actually around the 8th spot. David Moyer just up ahead. Joshua King trying to close in on Moyer. Brandon Willard in that 10th spot. Joshua Gillen in the 11th spot. All these guys running really, really close together right here as we come to that to the final 10 laps of this stage right here. I'll give a call right here also to Michael Wade right here in the 15th spot. The two tires seems to, or the no tires, fuel only, seems to have not quite worked out on either one of these stage breaks, Logan. So I think that maybe that experiment might be over with tonight, especially considering how many sets of tires they have lying in the pits.
Yeah, it certainly should be, as it's proven twice now to not be the right call. 4 tires on the next break will be nearly mandatory. I mean, most of these drivers have only taken 2 sets of tires already. So you're going to finish the race with extra tires over the wall. That's not ideal.
No.
You might as well use them. You've got them, use them.
Yeah, absolutely right there. We saw one of those drivers on fresh tires, Brett Wren, come flying by the third and the fourth place cars of Alex Pollock and Gavin Henson. He's looking to unlap himself, get one of those 4 laps he is down back before they get into this thing. And Alex Pollock right here, yeah, trying to still hold on to that 3rd spot over Gavin Henson.
I believe Wren is actually trying to set up for position to gain 2 laps before this stage, or with this stage, so if he can get back around Cody Giles, he'll lose one of his 4 laps. And then I believe once everybody comes back down, if he elects to stay out, he'll get a wave around on that as well. So Brett Wren looks like he's setting up to try to minimize this down to just 2 laps down.
Yeah, pretty good.
That's smart thinking there from the 24.
Yeah, pretty good call right there. Oh, one car really slow. I think that's Reggie Kime. He stopped on the track. He does tow. Man, that could have been disastrous right there. Where you're kind of zoomed in on Brett Wren, and we didn't see what happened to the 9 of Reggie Kime. Oh, and there was some contact right here down the backstretch. Oh, but Michael Wade gets into the left rear of Kime, sends that mystery machine spinning into the inside wall. And then Brett Wren came by here, and it almost gave me a heart attack because I did not see the stopped car of the 9 right here on the bottom.
That reset button does not work if you are still rolling. A lot of drivers getting by before he finally gets it towed back to pit road. Green flag stays out, though. I am surprised that iRacing did not throw the yellow on that one, but here it is. Brett Wren losing 1 lap here on that count, so he's down to 3 laps down. This is working out perfectly in his favor. If he can get that wave around like I think he's going to, this puts a whole new twist on things, especially if we see a caution, if he can get up to a lucky dog spot. But he's got a lot of drivers ahead of him before he gets to that type of position. Now, granted, if Wren does get that wave around, that's going to put him 2 laps down. The only other driver 2 laps down will be Harold Tucker, so a little bit of an advantage over the remaining drivers there. And back here in the action as the 10 of Joshua Gillen is hunting down the 17 of Joshua King. It's Joshua on Joshua Prime right now. Let's see who's going to get this position before that flag comes out to set the stage. However, it is only top 5 that get points for stage breaks, so neither one of these drivers in the hunt right now. So a little bit too far back for that. I don't think they're going to have enough time to catch up with the 8 of Adam Holston. Plus, Holston is just on a tear right now in the top 5. He's got a 2.5-second lead over the 16 of Aaron Esp. Down to the inside goes the 17, looking to get around Andy Berry. He's going to get that gain here coming down the back stretch, still holding it down low. Doesn't quite get clear before turn 3. Berry has a chance to make a run around the outside. There's that Larson line that we know and love. And he's going to lose a position to the 10.
It looks like Andy Berry, Logan, might have some damage to the right rear. Not sure how badly that's affecting the handling of the 25, or if maybe he's just burned his stuff up, burned his tires up a little bit too much right here. But it seems like Berry kind of sliding back from his position in the top 10 earlier. As David Moyer is looking to get around him right here. That's a battle for the 9th spot.
So it appears that Berry will be safe, possibly, unless Brandon Willard finds some extra pace. 8/10 back. Pit lane is closed. Stage coming up. Let's see if the 10 can make a move on Joshua King before we see that flag come out. This is the closest battle on the field, separated by 0.2 of a second. I apologize. Actually, Reggie Kime is battling for the 18th position with Robert McKay side by side for those two drivers, laps down. We'll keep our focus up here at the front as the stage break is coming up shortly.
Cody Giles right here working his way off of turn number 2. Evan Janik. Was curious to see if he could gain any ground on him towards the end of this stage, Logan, and it doesn't look like he was able to. Janik right here, 2 seconds back. Wasn't able to make up any ground right here on the 5 as Giles going to take that green and white checkered here at the line.
Green and white checkered is out. The caution will be thrown after the 10th place car. That is Andy Berry right now. Once he crosses that start-finish line, we'll see it come out. And there it is. I believe a little bit early, actually. But here's the end of stage 2. Giles taking more points here. Janik taking a couple more. Got the 92 of Alex Pollock taking the 3rd spot in the stage. Gavin Henson in the 39 taking 4th, and Adam Holston holds on to the 5th spot. We'll see if anything changes here as this pit cycle takes place. We'll get them stacked back up before we bring them down pit road.
Well, what do you say, Logan? Do you think all these drivers are going to take 4 tires here on this pit stop?
Absolutely. That would be the worst call you could make, to take anything other than full tires and full fuel, because we have to try to make it to the end of this race. A lot of these drivers might even try, if you can really stretch out this fuel cell all the way to the end of its capacity, we might see just a fuel-only stop to end this race. Yeah. It's all going to come down to if we see that that colored flag. I don't really want to mention it because we've gone so long without one now.
Yeah, hopefully we don't right here as Giles blinked out right there for just a second, but he's right back as these drivers are going to make their way down pit road. Evan Janik really close to the back bumper of Cody Giles. Not want him to get away with anything right here. Want to make the most of his time right here on pit road. Definitely the easiest place on the racetrack to pass him is right here in the pits.
We'll see what the 71 does versus the 5. Again, we're going to assume 4 tires and full fuel. Janik gets into his box just a little bit sooner. Right side goes up nearly the same time. But here's where that pole setting qualifying lap is going to come into play. Left sides go up 4 tires for our leaders, and away they go at the same exact time. And that is why you want to get that number 1 qualifying position. The 8 of Holston, he's going to move up to the 4th position on that. Alex Pollock, he's going to remain in 3rd. Aaron Esp falls back to 5th.
Yeah, and that was great pit work right there by Giles. And yeah, Logan, no 2 tire stops, no fuel only stops. A few drivers up here at the front electing to stay out possibly and get their wave around, and that's what they will get right here. And gain a lap right here on the leaders. So yeah, going to be interesting right here in the final stage. If we do go green to the end right here, this race could be won or lost on pit road here, Logan. This thing could be decided on when you decide to make this final pit stop right here in this final stage of the race.
Absolutely. Well, while we've got a little bit of a break in the action, Chris, what do you say we pull up that driver, the 39, currently running 6th, Gavin Henson, and have a quick word with him?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see if we can get Gavin Henson here in the broadcast booth. Gavin Henson, driver. Henson. Go ahead, Logan.
Well, that works. Gavin Henson, you got Chris Smith and Logan Threlkeld up here in the Slingshot Racing Media booth. You got a copy, driver.
Sir.
Well, you're up here in the top 10, running a pretty solid race. We've seen a mixture of strategies out here. I assume you took 4 tires on that pit stop?
Yes, I did. Definitely.
All right. That is the only correct call, in my opinion, here to start this last stage of the race. Now, how is that car handling out there? We've seen a lot of drivers getting into the outside wall, a lot of drivers making small mistakes that turn into big ones. How's the 39 doing right now?
Well, it's the sun has went down and the track's cool and I feel a little bit better, but you can still get tight. When the tires get worn, I find my car getting tight, and I'm just gonna have to be patient in the middle of the corners to set up my exit and to prevent from hitting the wall. So if I can do that, I'll be fine.
So exit speed will be everything here in the late runnings of this race. Chris, is there anything you'd like to say to Gavin?
Yeah, Gavin, why don't you tell us a little bit about that pace scheme that you have right there on that 39 machine? I see North American Racing Series on it. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Let me choose right quick.
Okay.
All right, yeah. It's my console league I've ran since 2023. Well, I didn't found the league, but I kind of took it over, and I got a lot of great guys around me, and we put on some really good racing on NASCAR Heat 5 right now. And we got a lot of good guys, a lot of good racers, very competitive, and I just wanted to show them off tonight, and see if we can put on a show for those guys watching.
Well, you're definitely putting on one heck of a show for them. We're going to let you go, get back to the action right here. Best of luck through the rest of the way, and maybe we'll be talking to you at the end of this thing.
Hopefully so, man.
Well, at least we got a word with one of these drivers, find out how these cars are handling, because we've seen so many different, instances where you might see a car 100 feet up the road handling entirely different from a car, a position back. So it gives a little bit of insight as to what we might see through the rest of this race. But here we come through turns 3 and 4. Pace car will come off, and we'll kick off here. Stage number 3 at lap 86. Cody Giles in the lead once more. Evan Janik to the outside. Green flag is in the air, and here we go. And one already through the grass on the bottom lane. Didn't quite catch the number on that. That's going to be the 24, Brett Wren. He's going to collect it back up to the track, however. Giles is going to get a big jump, and it's 2 by 2 for that 4th position. The 8 of Holston holding on the outside.
Here comes Janik right here, looking to look to the outside possibly of Cody Giles. Giles taking a defensive line right here into turn 3. Janik is going to motor around the outside. He's going to get sideways.
And sideways behind as well as one's in the wall. Caution flag is out, and it's a stack up. Nar. We've got one upside down.
Oh my gosh, that's the number 25 of Andy Berry. That car is upside down right there at the entrance of pit road. Some loose race cars right here on the restart, Logan. We're going to have to go back and try to take stock of what happened. A lot of things going on. Right here in turns. Yeah, we got a few drivers loose. It's more than just one. That's just very, very odd.
All on the outside line, too. So it's going to be Andy Berry in the red 25. The no number, that's going to be the 01 of Stephen Gill. Gill.
Yep.
So he's going to get loose and get in the outside wall. Then everybody just piles in. Michael Wade's involved. We've got the 33 in the mix. Gino. No, I apologize. Gino is not mixed up in it, but I believe that's the 25 upside down now.
Yeah, it was. And
the 33 to Brad Nelson.
And Evan Janik was one of those drivers. We were kind of focused on the battle for the lead when all that was going on behind them. Janik elected to go to the top right here, and he got his car extremely loose right here on the top. And I think there was a little bit of netcode contact between he and the 5 right there of Cody Giles, but that could have been a lot worse. We're going to go back right here and try to ride on board with Andy Berry. See right here, he's getting sideways, tries to correct it, head on into the wall before he eventually is going to turn over right here.
Yeah, you got T-Bone. I believe that was a 33 that got into the side. That's what's going to send Berry over on his lid. Yeah, if you're Janik and Giles on that one, I don't know. I think Giles might need a new race suit after seeing Janik completely sideways to his outside, but back again one more time here. You can see it was early for Berry whenever he got loose. A little bit of a net code there with the 47, but that almost straightened him up. Then Michael Wade came through. Unfortunately got wrapped up in it. The 33 again. The 17. Oh, man, he was up there in the top 5 for quite a while. Joshua King, he's got the hood up on it. It's big damage on a couple drivers. I'm not sure who has fast repairs left after what we saw at the beginning of this race.
Yeah, not sure. It's hard to take stock of who still has those fast repairs remaining. And there's another one right there, Aaron Esp. He's the one I saw get sideways behind Janik. And man, some of these drivers right here just nowhere to go, piled into the crash. And that really is, as you mentioned, Logan, what caused the 25 to turn over upside down. And even if Andy Berry does have a fast repair remaining, and there's no way he's getting that thing back to pit road, he's going to have to take his toe back before he can get a new car, possibly.
Before we get back to Green Flag Racing, could we get an onboard view with the 9 of Reggie Kime as he came into it by chance?
We might possibly be able to. Let's see if we can go back and...
He was the last driver that got wrapped up in it. I would assume he's got a pretty good view of all the action just ahead of him.
Looks like we might have missed it here. Oh, I think we might have it here.
We are coming down the backstretch, doubled up. There's that stack up where Wren went through the grass on the restart.
And riding on board right here with Kime, and
just nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. Very unfortunate for
Kime
Reggie.
that got into Barry. Well, we're doubled back up, coming through turns 3 and 4. Pace car lights are off. It'll be coming off down pit lane this time by. Giles on the inside. Janik on the outside once more. Janik will have to be a whole lot more careful this time, as they've got a little bit of a heat cycle through the tires. Pace car off now. It's the 5 in control. Geico restart zone, and the green flag is out. Giles away, and a big jump to the bottom line here, separating from that third row. Immediately up to the high line ahead of Janik, and it's a battle for second with Janik and Pollock.
Pollock really looking to roll on that inside lane right there, knowing how important it is to maintain track position. He's wanting to grab that spot early, but unfortunately he was unable to.
Does fall back to third, now looking to hold on to it, keeping the 10 at bay. Around the outside goes the 39. Collects a position there. Single file through the top 5. Side-by-side battle for the, I want to say, the 8th position. No, that's Brandon Willard. The 12 has made it up to the top 10, running in 7th, but battling with the 27 of Christian Barnes. Does get ahead of Barnes. They're both going to fall to the bottom of the track. The 8 of Holston still holding up high. Very early on these fresh tires to be putting some extra wear. You see just how close Brandon Willard comes out to the wall. That Perry the Platypus M&M's machine trying to make his way to a top 5 before we see the checkered flag. A little bit of a nudge now from the 27 of Barnes. They're both catching up to Gavin Henson just ahead. Apologize, Adam Holston just ahead.
And meanwhile, battle for third right here. That's going to be Joshua Gillen moving up into the third spot. A great run out of that 10 machine tonight. Speaking of Brandon Willard maybe having his best run of the season, I'd say this is possibly the best run of the season for Joshua Gillen as well. Alex Pollock looking to do the crossover there and say, not so fast, my friend.
Gillen did have a really good qualifying effort. Started out tonight in 8th, up 5 positions. Pollock up 13. Willard with the big moves here, up 17 positions as he runs in 7th. It was nearly a side-by-side battle up in the front, but Evan Janik finally claiming some laps led here to add some momentum to the 71. As Cody Giles now having to battle some dirty air coming off the back end.
And this is really the first time, Logan, since Cody Giles got up there in the top 5 after starting deep in the field, that he's been able to get up there, or be in dirty air, I should say. So his car's probably handling very differently than it was for most of this race, running out front with a lot of clean air hitting the nose of that Camaro.
There is a little bit of a strategy at play sometimes with this, where Giles could be trying to utilize the draft as much as possible, coming off of the 71. That'll extend the fuel range just a touch. He might be able to get an extra lap or 2 out of that fuel cell before he has to bring it down. Right now, Janik trying to push it hard for everything that it's worth. This time by, he's going to run a 30.433 versus Giles' 30.359. Joshua Gillen, however, putting down a 30.290. So a couple faster cars behind. Gavin Henson also in that 30.2 range. We've got a lot of distance to make up here before we get to that point where they're battling for the lead. Right now, it's all about Giles. And we got another caution on the track at the back of the field. I'm not entirely positive who's mixed up in this one.
Yeah, it looks like several cars involved. The 01, that's Steve McGill. He's going to make a tow to pit road. But the 17 of Joshua King, one of the fast cars all night tonight, unfortunately, was wrapped up in that.
I believe the 78 of Caleb Hunt also lined up in it. The 77 of Zach White appears to have a big hits to the inside wall. So that was the 78 and the 17 that started it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Man,
brake pedal is in the middle.
There's some charging into that wreck, I guess you could say right there. We're going to go back and see this one more time, see the contact that occurred to start this thing. Caleb Hunt right here is, he's not on the lead lap. I think he's still one lap down, but yeah, he was using the top lane right there to try to gain some momentum, and those guys were running really close together and just make some contact, and Stephen Gill, oh my gosh, he sends Caleb Hunt way up into the air. And Joshua King also takes a ride down the backstretch as well.
Big hits all around. A couple more nights are going to be ended quickly as we are in the back half of this race. It's not the time you want to do it. Personally, if I'm going to get wrecked out, I would much rather it be the very beginning rather than getting 90-plus laps into the race. On board right now with the 01. He tried to turn it down, but those front tires, they did not take the turn nearly as much as he was hoping. Here's more carnage coming around the 01 as the 77 piles in there. Zach White, that is the last opportunity for the 77. He has already used a fast repair on the night, so he will pull it back to the garage, and that race is done. Well, we had some more pit stops here, but it looks like Aaron Esp is elected to stay out on the track. So the 16 will assume the lead here on 11-lap old tires. Everybody behind all the way to the 10th position. So Janik, Giles, Gillen, Henson, Pollock, Holston, Barnes, and Willard, David Moyer, and Brad Nelson. Actually, it looks like everybody now as the pit box data is updating. Looks like everybody's brought it down pit road aside from Aaron Esp.
Yeah, and I'll be curious to see how this plays out for him. You know, Aaron has had plenty of speed all night tonight. He's already used a fast repair for a crash that he was involved in earlier. And in fact, I think it was the previous caution before this one that he was involved in. So, yeah, Aaron's possibly going to look to maybe gain a little bit of track position that he lost in that crash that he was in, and see if he can maintain where he was at. You know, if he was just barely pushing it along, sort of putt-putting around at the back of the field, you might feel like he's in pretty good shape right here, but I don't think I would want to be leading this thing, even on 10-lap, 11-lap older tires, with a bunch of these really, really fast guys behind me with fresh tires here, Logan.
And speaking of that, I'm surprised by the call from the 5 team to elect to take that high line in row 2 behind the driver that does have the older tires in the field. I don't know if he's just going the opposite of Janik, as Janik will be on the inside line of row number 1 as we are coming down through turns 3 and 4. This one has potential to be dangerous here. We'll see how Aaron Esp handles this restart on the older tires. This car will come off, a lot of room being given. And they are going to tighten it back up a little bit, but Giles looks to be playing it safe, about a half car length between. Green flag is going to wave, and we're away one more time here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Everybody behind Esp, but Janik and Giles back to the lead. Giles falls in right behind Aaron Esp doing a great job holding on to the third place position right now. Here comes that 39 of Gavin Henson. What's he going to do? He's going to get into the wall a little bit. We take it to the low side of turn 1. Will Esp close that door? 16 is going to run a modified middle lower line. He's going to close the door on Henson. Henson looks to the outside on corner exit, back down to the bottom, down the back stretch, but not enough to get to that back bumper. And Esp leaves the door open. Henson to the bottom. He's going to get clear here. The 16 might lose 2. Will Holston be able to get around, coming across the front stretch? Contact to the back. One more in the wall. It's the 47. Keeps it straight, though.
Hey, that was, we'll go back right here very, very quickly and see if we can see what transpired with the 47. Looks like we went back just a little bit too far, so might have been some contact. Oh yeah, into the wall and then got hit from behind by Brad T. Nelson. Unfortunately, the 47 goes head on into the fence right there with a lot of damage.
Luckily, that caution flag stays in its holster. Janik still with the lead, 1/10 of an advantage over Giles. We've seen both of these drivers up here from this pack pretty well the entire night. It's going to come down to the final laps here between the 71 and the 5. Giles looks to the inside. He gets to that back bumper. He's got to let up just a touch, so he's going to slide right back in behind the 71. Contact made from the third place car of Henson with the outside wall. Corner exit to turn number 4, and a big gap back there to the 4th place of Adam Holston. It's a 4-car battle behind him for that 5th place position. Pollock, Esp, Gillen, and Barnes all trying to figure it out here. The 33 in the mix as well. Brad T. Nelson goes to the bottom line, trying to get the advantage over Joshua Gillen. He's going to get there. A little bit of a slide job out of the corner, but he gets it done cleanly. Now he's got a couple more to work on. It's the 27 to the bottom, Esp to the outside. And the 33 with a decision to make. Who do you follow? He's going to go to that bottom line. Closes that exit off, however, and here it is, a 3-car battle for first place now. Giles to the inside, the 39 of Henson to the outside. Janik stuck in the middle.
You're right here, Gavin Henson making a nice charge up there, and Cody Giles looking to peek to the inside of Evan Janik one more time. Giles is showing just how difficult it is when you get to the inside of a driver here. I cannot even begin to express how difficult it is to make the pass. Even if you're faster than somebody here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, it is so hard to actually work your way around them, especially on the inside with as tight as these corners are.
It really poses a difficult situation. However, that inside line is likely your best opportunity unless the driver ahead of you just makes a slight mistake. You know, you could enter low and push up high into that middle lane. Oh, there's a lot of variables that could happen here as Janik keeps it low off corner exit. He gets a good run down the backstretch. Giles still fending off Henson right now for that 2nd place position. 39 falling back just a touch, about a car length behind. We've got a lot of room to work with here. These 3 drivers could make little mistakes and still have plenty of time to regather themselves before Adam Holston gets back into the picture for a podium position. We are within 30 laps to go here, Chris. It's coming to the end of this race.
It is, as these drivers right here are giving it all they've got right now at the, towards the end of this thing. I think that they recognize right here that with running as close as they are right now, as might have been some contact into the outside wall right there off of turn 4. If you've got the chance to complete the pass, you got to try to get it done right now. So I don't think much is being done as far as saving tires at this point. I think that you got to let it all hang out right now and try to get control of this race, which Evan Janik has done at this stage.
Now we're sitting at 11 laps completed on the stint. This time Baia will be starting lap 12. I think they've got enough to make it to the end on fuel. It might be close with how hard these leaders are pushing. It might be a race of attrition at the very last bit of it. If we stay green to the end of this, might hear some cars coming across that start-finish line just sputtering. Here comes Giles again with a big run down the backstretch, closes it up. Oh, and big accident in turn 2. Brandon Willard's around. Nobody else really collected, though.
That's unfortunate with the great run that he was having tonight. Probably his best run of the season. Hate to see that he got taken out in this crash. We'll go back and see if we can see what happened to the driver of the 12. He is right here working his way into turn number 1. That's the number 3 right there. Michael Wade underneath him. Stephen Gill behind him. It's like Wade is going to slide up, just gets into the left rear of Brandon Willard and unfortunately turns him around. David Moyer hits the outside wall trying to dodge Brandon Willard. And unfortunately, that's going to necessitate a trip down pit road. I don't know if Willard, he might have a quick repair left in the pits, Logan.
If he does, that would be the best time to use it. However, cautions can breed cautions here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Take another look at this. You can see Michael Wade let up as he lost a lot of ground to the 01 there, but it was just a little bit too late. He was already making that slide up the track, just makes that contact with the left rear, sending Willard around into the wall. But honestly, minimal damage for the 12 compared to some of these other wall taps.
Yeah, he's going to get away with it, I think, and be able to keep on rolling even if he does not have a fast repair left. So might be sitting in pretty decent shape with the attrition that we've seen here in this final stage of the race. Only 12 cars on the lead lap. Keep on pushing, Brandon. You might be able to walk out of this thing with a top 10 finish.
He very well could. Well, while we've got a break in the action, let's have a quick word with our sponsors, and then we'll be right back for some more green flag action, hopefully all the way to the end.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wonder why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
And we are back here. It's the 5 leading the way on that bottom line. Holston has made his way back to the second place position. He'll be starting on the outside once this green flag drops. Gavin Henson into third. It's the 27 of Christian Barnes in fourth. Alex Pollock takes up the 5th spot on this restart. What happened to Evan Janik, you might ask? Well, he's fallen all the way back to the 8th position right now. So he's got a lot of driving to do if he wants to challenge Giles again for that lead. Janik with a tough task ahead of him as the laps are minimized. There's so few left here. It is, I don't even know what to say about it, but it is not a lot of opportunity. Pace car is going to come off. Keep your eye on the 5 as we make our way to that Geico restart zone one more time. In control on the bottom. A little bit of a internet connection issue, and Giles going to spin it up really, really bad on that restart. But he collects it back up. Everybody else seems to have done pretty well the same. It's 3 wide towards the back. Janik with big moves already. He's going to look immediately to the inside out of the corner number 2. He's going to look to the inside of the 92 of Alex Pollock. Pollock closes that door. Janik's going to fall back in line, but a great move to get back to the top 5 from that 8th position right off the grid.
Yeah, he was able to get a few of them very, very quickly right there on the restart. And that's what he really needed to be able to do, Logan, was possibly be able to get around some of those guys very, very quickly. As Cody Giles in that, little connection whip that he had right there on the restart, there was some contact from behind, I think. Whoever was lined up behind him, and you can see the rear bumper on that number 5 as how much is pushed in. Have to wonder how much that's affecting the handling of that Chevy.
And you can see that back end started to slide out from behind him. Out of turn number 4. There's near contact made between the second and third place car. Glad that one lined itself out. Janik to the outside now. Holster putting it down low in that 8 machine. Oh, and a big move down to the bottom from the 39.
Oh,
Henson.
trouble.
Oh, and down the back stretch. Henson into the inside wall. The 8. No. A lot of fast cars up here. Get collected in that one. There's another one I think took some damage as well. Didn't end up spinning, but hit the outside wall, down to the inside wall, collects the 8. 39, big damage. Gavin Henson is going to fall all the way back to the 11th position. Take it back here on the Slingshot instant replay.
And I think that this started right here off of turn 2, Logan. Yeah, you see Gavin Henson got loose right there. Kind of caused a little bit of a jam up. Evan Janik into the back of the 39. Sends him into the inside wall. Adam Holston collected in that deal. I think Alex Pollock might have also received some damage also in that. But that started with a slide right there coming off of turn 2. We've seen how loose these cars are on restarts tonight. Especially, you mentioned it, running the top lane on these restarts. And that's exactly where Henson is right here. As he's going to slide sideways right here off of turn number 2. See if we can get a little bit of I don't know if we have a better look at it. Yeah, and there's the contact right there from Evan Janik. I think Janik was just trying to give him a push just to get him going right there. And unfortunately for Gavin Henson, Adam Holston, those drivers taking a lot of damage in this deal.
Let's get an onboard with Janik as we saw the action just ahead of him and obviously making contact with the 39. So here's the onboard. He gets loose ahead. You got the 8 checking up. And, that did not seem like that was that hard of a bump coming from Janik to really just unsettle that car as much as it did.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was much at all right here, riding on board with Henson right here, the rear bumper. There's that push.
It was barely a tap on the back bumper. I cannot believe that Henson ended up getting so unsettled by that.
Yeah, it didn't seem like much at all, and unfortunately maybe circumstances right there. Maybe if the wheels were moving slightly, not sure right there. Just really unfortunate break for Gavin Henson, who was looking to have a great run tonight, and he was having a great run. I think if that caution wouldn't have come out before, I think he was sitting in a prime spot to possibly get a podium finish here tonight.
Very well could have, and big damage on the front right. You can see that front right wheel is towed way in. And then even the front left, I don't think it was making contact with the ground on the 39 machine. So big damage, and it's going to be a tough one to recover from unless he's got that fast repair still in his pocket. Wish I had the stats on that for whatever reason, not cooperating with the session for me. But it looks like we're going to get doubled back up here. Choose cone has been passed. We're going to have Giles back to the inside. Janik once more on the outside. Now we saw Janik get loose on the outside once before using this high lane, but now we've got the 5 with damage on the inside. So I don't know. It's anybody's ball game once they get down into turn 1. The aerodynamics on the 5 are going to be very different from what he experienced the entire first half of the race. Giles did a great job of keeping that thing clean. Now, with that little bit of a connection issue, you got a little bit of a bump, a little dent there in the back bumper. We are inside 20 laps to go now. It's go or no go. You got to send it here.
Yeah, you definitely do, and arguably the 2 fastest cars all night right here. With the timing of that caution right there has basically given Evan Janik new life and put him back into a great position, possibly be able to contend for the win. To do it, though, he's got to get around probably his closest competitor all night tonight, the guy who's dominated most of the action, and that's Cody Giles in that 5.
For the 8th time tonight, we're going to send it green to start lap 120. 15 laps to go. And Giles with a big jump on the inside line. He'll fall right up to the top of the track to get the best entry here into turn number 1. The 92 gets a good run with a little bit of help coming from the side of Christian Barnes. They'll get side by side up here, but Janik's going to get the better run off the corner. More contact. And they're going to collect it. The 33, the 27, now the 12's involved. They put Brandon Willard up into the wall. They couldn't get each other off the door. The 33, Brad T. Nelson, the 27. Where is that name? There it is, Christian Barnes. The 27 of Christian Barnes, just unable to get detached. And unfortunately for the 12, gets collected in it.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to get it straightened back up.
I thought so too, Logan. And this looks a lot worse than what it is. I think that yeah, Brad gets into a little bit of trouble right here. I wonder if we can see this maybe from like a little bit of a overhead perspective here. Rolling right here off of turn 2. Nelson gets up into the wall right there. Pollock kind of slides up. I think there might have been some rear to front contact right there. That's going to force Nelson into the wall. He gets sideways right there. He's not putting a block on Barnes. I just think it's just really bad timing right there. They come back on the track right there, and unfortunately for Brandon Willard, when they re-enter the track, it's right into his path, and he just has nowhere to go.
I will say the skies are a little dark here at Charlotte, but I thought I saw that Goodyear blimp in the air. That might have a good camera view for it.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get that perspective here in just a second. See right here, Willard. He's thinking he's got it clear, and I think right there he's just hooked in the left rear. And
a completely innocent bystander.
Yeah. See if we can see this from higher up. This is our best blimp view, I think, right here. It's see the 33 and the 27 getting together right there, and right up into the path of Brandon Willard.
Good avoidance by the drivers behind. Nobody else gets collected up in it. Brandon Willard appears to get the worst of that one. And it looks like we're going to get an EOL on the 92, Alex Pollock, for causing that caution. Direct words from control. So we'll see Alex Pollock fall all the way back to the back of the field here behind the lap traffic. It's going to set that race on a whole different level for him. You can see he just moved up the track there, kind of pinched the 33 a little bit more than he was expecting, I'm sure. Brad Nelson got into the wall, came down into the 27. What a sequence of events for that one.
Yeah, very unfortunate for some of those drivers who are right here at the end of this thing looking to make it to the checkered flag. We talked about the great run tonight from Brandon Willard. Unfortunately, right now, he finds himself one lap down. In all of this, it looks like Evan Janik has... not sure what's happened to Evan Janik right here, but he's all the way back to the 12th spot here, Logan.
I have some pit stop data from Evan Janik. He did come down. He got 1 minute and 14 seconds in the box, so that is a lot of damage to get repaired on the 71 that I did not ever notice. But certainly would have taken some fresh tires, I would assume. And he's going to be the freshest tires on the field, I believe. Scratch that. It looks like pretty well everybody from the 5th place position back to our last lead lap car, Alex Pollock, has brought it down pit road and got tires and maybe some damage repaired for a lot of the field as well.
And, you know, Cody Giles has the oldest tires out here, but I'm not sure how big of a disadvantage that's going to be, Logan, with all the caution laps we've had, especially with Holson and Henson right there being pretty close to him.
We'll have to find out as we're going to come to green here with 11 laps to go at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Green flag in the air one more time, and it's the 5 taken away on that bottom line.
It's a real nice
trying to get some momentum on the top there, but Christian Barnes is going to get to the inside line, get clear of the 8. Here comes that 39. Gavin Henson back in the hunt for a top 3 position.
Holston closing up on the rear bumper right here.
Stretch.
Yeah, closing up on the rear bumper of Barnes right there in the 27. So he looked to snag that second spot right there. A lot of contact deeper in the field back behind these guys. They all keep it straight, though.
Janik started at the back half of the top 10, already working on that 6th place car of Aaron Esp. He's going to look to the inside coming down the back stretch. He'll get to that back bumper, but not quite to the door before turn 3, but that's enough. Esp is going to leave that door open. The 71 is going to take advantage on that low line. He'll get clear out of corner exit, but it's a big gap before he catches up to the rest of the top 5.
Battle for the lead right here. We got Christian Barnes going to the inside of Cody Giles. He's going to complete the pass.
Holston giving a big push there as Giles going to fall back, loses 2 positions now. Just trying to hold on to a podium here as Brad T. Nelson and Gavin Henson both right behind all of this action, ready for one of these drivers to make a mistake, and that might have just come from the 27. Holston to the outside. He'll get to the door. Will he have enough to hold on to it and get clear by the backstretch? You got Giles looking. He doesn't know who to follow. Both of these drivers just ahead of him have some pace, but where's the speed going to be for the 5? Stuck in the middle of 4 cars. Nowhere to go.
Yeah, nowhere to go at all right here as there's all kinds of dirty air on the nose of that 5 now as these drivers run side by side in front of him right here. Brad T. Nelson looking to get himself up into the mix as well.
That is not what you want to see if you're the driver of the 33 or the 39. That 5 still battling some sort of a connection issue, blinking in and out of existence every once in a while. Contact with Giles in the wall. He keeps it straight, but he's going to lose that ground here. The 33 is going to take advantage. Brad T. Nelson into a podium position. Janik looking to make a move here as he's closing that gap. Ahead of him is exactly what he wants to see. Those drivers slowing each other down, but here we go. Barnes, Holston trying to get away.
Barnes is going to complete the pass. He's going to get out in front of Holston. Those drivers ran side by side multiple laps in a row. Barnes taking that defensive line down the backstretch, looking to protect the inside on entry to turn 3. One car really slow down on the apron at turn 3. That's Brett Wren. Hopefully he'll be able to make it back to the pits or tow.
And 5 laps to go here at Charlotte. Who's it gonna be? Christian Barnes found the late race speed. Adam Holston right on his tail. They've got a gap back to that 3rd place position. It is a 2-horse race for this number 1 spot. Who will have enough to make it to the last checkered flag of the night? Looks like Giles trying to find some speed at the 39, and Henson goes through the grass, keeps it straight. He's going to rejoin and keeps it off the door. Man, what a drive there through the grass, but back up towards the front. Barnes still with the advantage. Holston losing some ground. Barnes not willing to let him have any extra help. Brings it down the track on the backstretch to break that draft as much as possible. Hugs that blue line all the way through 3 and 4. This time by 3 to go.
And Barnes right here, he's doing everything he can to possibly punch his way into the playoffs with a win. He has yet to win this season, looking for his first one on the year. He's just hoping for no caution flags at the end of this thing. Holston looking for his 2nd win of the season.
Lot of points on the line right now. Giles has some room off the back bumper as there's a 3-horse race for that number 4 position. Janik does get clear, however. Will Janik be able to make a comeback here in the top 3 if he can get around the 5? Barnes in a great position, 0.4 of a second on gap. over Holston. Then we got a whole second back to Giles, apologize. I've said that wrong all night. I'll get it right eventually. And here comes Janik. He is on a tear on those fresh tires. A whole lot of advantage here. 10 laps of a difference between the 5 and the 71. 1 to go for the Whiplash Simcam's white flag.
Christian
Here
Barnes.
it is down the backstretch. I apologize there, Chris, but Christian Barnes looking to make it number 1 on the season down into turn 3. He's got 2 more to do it. Holston out of the picture. It's a battle for third place behind. Who's going to be back there? But it's the first win of the season for Christian Barnes in the 2017. Adam Holston able to hold on to that second place spot, and Giles does keep Janik at bay to take home the last spot on the podium. Whew, what a finish.
What a finish it was indeed, Logan. And yeah, a great drive for Christian Barnes all night tonight. We saw him in the middle of a lot of chaos, but I know he's got to be absolutely thrilled to bring home his first win of the season. He's been fast. He's had a lot of speed, so this is one that he definitely didn't just luck into. He, he's been fast all year, and he put himself in position right there in the closing stages and did an awesome job.
And he's going to celebrate here, back it into the wall. That way you make sure you can pass that post-race inspection. Right. The 27 earned this one. What a strategy, too. We didn't even really talk about that, but Barnes kind of came out of nowhere here in the late race. 22 laps on those tires. Had just a 6-lap advantage over Holston, but it was not enough for the 8 to get back around and take home the win here tonight to make it 2 on the season for him. Instead, Barnes gets number 1. Stick around. We're going to send it to a quick commercial break. Then we'll be right back with our post-race results and interviews with our top 3 finishers. You don't want to miss it.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wonder why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
And we are back here for the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. And we've got our third place finisher in the booth now, Cody Giles in the number 5. Cody, we saw you up here in the lead pretty well the entire race. 89 laps led. You set the pole. You started at the back, however, with an EOL penalty. Tell us how that first drive was, getting all the way through the field and back up here where you rightfully belonged.
Yeah, the first run, I knew it was gonna I was gonna have some time to, I got a lot of ground to make up on the first stage, first run. Just, bide my time, kind of just be easy. I made the mistake like last night by just kind of running it too hard. And so coming in tonight, I just wanted to try something differently. And it worked out for the majority in stage one. And that's just how we kind of made our way through the field, is just by, setting the pace and setting our own pace and just, picking them off one by one.
Well, it certainly worked out in that first stint. Like you said, you claimed the lead pretty early after being set back all the way to the back, and you ran away with it at times. We saw you with about a 2-second lead at one point, maybe even up to 2.5, and ultimately falling back here to the third place position. What was different here at the end of this race that puts you on this step of the podium instead of the top step?
I have no idea. I'm still trying to figure that one out. All I know is like on the second or third restart, second or third to last restart, I had Gavin hit me when we were coming to the green, and it got me all wound up, and I spun the tires about 50 feet, down the front straightaway. So that could have probably been it, which it's not his fault. I mean, it's just, we're coming to the last couple laps and everybody's just trying to jockey for position on the restart. So it is what it is. It's frustrating. It really is when you lead, 60, 90 plus laps, and, it dominates both stages, and it comes down to just, comes down to like that. You just, it's like defeat.
Yeah, certainly not ideal, but you did make the best of it. We saw that damage after that contact was made, and we were questioning how that car would handle. As soon as we said that, we saw the back end step out a little bit from behind you, so we knew it wasn't quite ideal, but you still managed to keep it up here on the podium. Congratulations on tonight. Again, 89 laps led. That is a lot of